What's good, YouTube? I just want to chat to y'all, man, a minute for about market sentiment. Market sentiment. The stock market is a massive topic right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of fear in the market, man, and a lot of people, you know, want to know what's going on. A lot of people are losing a lot of money. A lot of people are sitting on the sidelines, and I just want to talk about a little bit about how I feel about the market, and let you guys know some insight on a few things. Now, S&P futures are down year to date 16.52%. That is the top 500 companies in the United States stock market by market cap. You're talking about your large caps. And if we look at NASDAQ 100 futures year to date, it's down 21.19%. Now, let me explain a couple things. When we're talking about these percentages, S&P 500 down 16.74%. So, what dictates a pullback? A pullback is usually 5 to about 10%. That's a pullback. When you're talking about correction territory, you're talking about 10 to 20%. And when you're talking about a bear market, that's 20% or more. So when we're talking about S&P 500 futures, we are in correction territory heading towards bear market territory. And when we're talking about NASDAQ futures, we are currently year to date in bear market territory down 21.22%. Now they're saying tomorrow that the stock market is in for another deep swing to the downside. The Chinese stock market opened up an hour or two ago and they were already down 10% at open. So I think that that's a good indicator that we're also headed down further deeper in the red. I think by the end of day tomorrow, you could see S&P futures officially in bear market territory. Now let me say this. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know when the market will turn around for the better. But I will say this, I do know, historically speaking, that the stock market always, not some of the times, but always recovers. So I want to give you guys some words of encouragement that you should not, unless you absolutely, just can't stomach it. You have money tied up in the stock market that you can't afford to lose. By this point, you've probably already lost a ton of money. But don't sell. Don't sell out of your positions. Don't sell out of your positions because when this thing turns around, a lot of money is going to be made, and this thing will turn around. We don't know how long these tariffs are going to last. According to the Trump administration, countries are lining up to negotiate these tariff deals. But we don't know how long it's going to last, and we don't know how long it's going to take for the market to recover. But I do know that the market will recover. So, if there are companies, that you've been looking at that are strong, fundamentally sound companies, companies that are shaping the future technologically, you know, I wouldn't sell. I wouldn't sell. Now, should you be buying right now? I think that is a matter of personal preference. Me personally, I'll say this. Tomorrow, I will not be buying. Tomorrow, I will be sitting back on the sidelines, waiting to monitor the market and see how things are going to go. I want to see what retaliatory tariffs, if any, come from other countries. I want to hear from the Trump administration in regards to any further actions. I want to see how federal the Jerome Powell response to things? Will he be forced to drop rates? You know, there are a lot of variables, and I want to let things play out. But I will tell you this: I am seeing a lot of companies. A lot of companies have been on my watch list. A lot of great companies that I've been waiting to start positions in. And I'll tell you what, some of these prices are prices that I never in a million years thought I would have the opportunity to buy some of these stocks in. And I'm excited. I'm excited. One being Micron, ticker symbol MU, high bandwidth memory. That's a bit. That's another. That's one that I'm looking at, and a lot of others. A lot of others. Everything's down right now. Everything's down. The VIX is up 45 at 45.31. As you know, the VIX works inverse. When there's a lot of uncertainty and fear in the market, the VIX goes up. And the VIX is at 45.31. And relatively speaking, just so you can see, how impactful that is, the VIX, this is the highest the VIX has been in the last 5 years. The highest the VIX has been in the last 5 years. So that lets you know what we're living through. These are unprecedented times. This is something that I've never seen in my lifetime, in my time being invested into the stock market. And, it's a learning experience for me. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning how to navigate things. Of course, I bumped my head along the way. But I'm excited. I'm excited because times like this, when we have a lot of fear and uncertainty, when you're getting in bear market territory, you can get a lot of great deals, a lot of great companies on discount. And when you get great companies on discount, when the market starts to turn around, that's when generational wealth can be created. Now, we talked about the VIX at 45.31, the highest it's been in the last 5 years. Another thing you can look at is the Fear and Greed Index, brought to you by CNN. You can check out that Fear and Greed Index, and we are indeed in extreme fear mode with a score of 4. Now, extreme fear on the Fear and Greed Index and the VIX being up at 45.31, things are extremely turbulent in the stock market. That's what that indicates. The stock market is in trouble right now. People don't know what's going on. People are scared. People are losing money. There's a lot of uncertainty. But, you know, hold on. Hold on. That's how I feel about it. I feel like you should hold on. I feel like use this as a learning experience and hold on to your positions. And I won't say buy falling knives, but I don't know, man. I'm not going to buy tomorrow, but I can't guarantee I won't buy anything this week. I'm going to be watching the market. I'm going to be monitoring it very closely. CNBC will definitely be on at 5 o'clock in the morning. And, I'm going to probably be watching it all day, see what's going on in the market. And I don't know, man. It's it's getting spooky out here, man. Like look at some of these numbers. You know, in overnight trading, Nvidia last time I checked was at $85. Palantir $65. Robinhood $29. Avgo, which is Broadcom, $133. CrowdStrike $297. TSM $136. AMD $77. Google $138. Tesla $215. Meta $468. These are crazy prices, man. Amazing prices for some of these companies, man. Amazing prices for some of these companies. And tomorrow we could see, I think we will see the market go even deeper into bear market territory. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity. And that's what I want people to understand, that look at it from the bright side. Me, I'm a long term investor. So I don't really care what happens in the market in the short term. You know, I'm looking more towards the mid to long term, 5 to 10 years out, 3 to 5 years out on the mid. But, I'm cool, calm, and collected right now. I'm not scared. Have I lost some money? Yes. I don't know anybody, exposed to the stock market at this point who hasn't. But it's bittersweet, man. It's bittersweet because I'm excited to have the opportunity, to be invested and in currently actively investing during this period, during this time, because when things turn around, I'm gonna make some money, and if you hold on, if you invest in the right things, at some of these prices, you're gonna make some money as well. But that's how I feel about it, man. I won't hold y'all too long. I'm not gonna drag it out, but you know, stay vigilant. Stay vigilant. Pay attention to the news. Pay attention to the macro. If you're not on X, I encourage you to get on X and start following some accounts, man. Get into some groups, and there's a lot of great information, a lot of great resources. Of course, this YouTube channel, my podcast that comes every Tuesday, airs every Tuesday with me and my co-host Ace Flair, AFHD Media on YouTube, and the podcast is down here, OTC Pod. Follow that, and yeah, it's the stock market, baby. You gotta love it. You gotta love it, man. The Trump administration is shaking things up. Will his plans work? I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I think he's trying to force the hand of Jerome Powell to lower these rates. He's trying to force companies to bring manufacturing back to the United States. And God knows what else, man. But we'll just have to see. And we're going to navigate this thing. That's what intelligent investors do. They find a way to navigate, they find a way to pivot. And that's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna get shaken out of our positions though. Because like I said, the circumstances have changed. The fundamentals of these companies and what makes them great has not. Another thing I want to mention is Q1 earnings are coming up. I don't know what the numbers are going to look like. We'll have to see. But the biggest thing that we need to be paying attention to going into this Q1 earnings is guidance. That's what's going to be key. And I'm interested to see how the market reacts, you know, to the guidance of these companies because I expect guidance to be extremely conservative for a lot of these companies going forward, at least for the remainder of the year. But we'll have to see, man. I won't hold y'all too long. I'll see y'all in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in.